Hi, I'm joined today by a lady called April, and this is kind of like a chat between two fellow amateurs. And the reason why April's joining me is because April's going to tell me about a scheme called POTA, which stands for Parks on the Air. Now, as you probably know, I bought myself a new radio recently, and I'm dying for reasons to get out and use it. So I've been doing a lot of digging on the internet, and obviously I know SOTA, Summits on the Air, and I know HEMA, and I've heard of castles on the air and bunkers on the air. But I became aware of parks on the air. So that sounded interesting. So I did a bit of digging, and I found April's details. So I contacted her and said, would you mind if we had a chat, and would you mind if I recorded it? I personally believe that this is an amazing reason to pick up your radio, go for a drive into a park or somewhere that's accessible and use your radio. So this is just an excuse to use your radio. So anyway, I want to introduce you to April. Maybe April can tell you a little bit about her and a little bit about what POTA in the UK is.
Great. Thank you. So my name's April. Most people know me by my call sign M7APR. So I'm the country admin for England for Parks on the Air. So my main responsibilities is adding parks, researching parks to be added, being the point of contact for any queries, people need some help submitting logs, and so on. So basically what I do for Parks on the Air for England.
Right, wow, that sounds like a very busy role. I know that you're always adding new parks as well, so I can only imagine that that must take up an immense amount of your time.
It does keep me busy.
So what is POTA, April?
So POTA Parks on the Air it's mainly it mainly come from America. So it started off back in 2016, 2017. So basically there was a year-long thing with the American version of the RSGB. So basically they set up this event for the year to promote the 100th anniversary of the American national parks. So after that year, because it had so much interest from people from across the world, this group of volunteers behind it, group who were quite heavily involved in the event, basically turned around and went, we want to make this a thing all the time. So Parks on the Air was born.
Okay, so what's involved? Is it really just as simple as going down to your local parks, sitting on the swings and calling CQ POTA? Is that basically what it is?
Yeah, basically. So really, really what it's about is you go out to a park that's registered on the system. You get 10 contacts to activate the park, and you submit your logs to the website, and that is it. It's as simple as that.
Right. So I was being a bit flippant there when I said about sitting on the swings. So the park has to be on the system.
It does, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So tell us a little bit about the system then. Where do I find information? Where do I find my local park? Yeah, how does that work?
So it's quite easy. So on the Parks on the Air website, once you've made an account, which is basically simple as you put in your call sign, you put in where you are, and that's it, you have an account. So once you've done that, there's an option for maps. So if you like myself, who's an Apple user, you basically allow it permission to access your location, and it'll show you exactly what's around you. So you look for these yellow dots on there, and it gives you the park name, and it gives you the park reference number. And it's as simple as that.
So even somebody like me could find my local park, and have you got to actually be sat on a blanket in the park, or could you actually be sat in your car if it's raining or cold, for instance?
Yep, so you can go out, sit on a bench inside the park if you wanted to, sit your little picnic blanket up. You can sit in your car, especially with our famous British weather. As long as you're inside the park, however you do it is up to you.
So that instantly makes me see the comparison between SOTA or HEMA as well, and POTA in the way that this is a lot more accessible to people who might not be as agile and not able to climb up those mountains to get the maximum amount of points for SOTA. So I think this is a very, very inclusive scheme. Am I wrong?
It is. It's very inclusive. There was a gentleman recently who's in a wheelchair. He has carers coming in, and he basically emailed me about this park nearby that he goes around to his carers with his family, and he was saying that I can't take part in SOTA because I can't get up a mountain. I struggle getting onto the beach because of my wheelchair. He goes, "Is it any possibility this park could be added?" And I had a look at the park, and it met the criteria of being in the system, and I've added it onto it for him.
Wow, wow.
So happy with it.
Yeah, I bet. And that feeling of being able to make a difference, I imagine that gives you a lot of satisfaction. I was going to say job satisfaction, but this isn't a job, is it? You don't get paid for this. You do this for the love of the hobby.
It is. It's completely voluntary, which some people forget. You know, when it takes a bit of while for me to have a look into these parks, and they go, "Where's this park? Where's this park?" And I'm like, I work full time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I literally do this for the love of the hobby and to promote it.
So, in brief, what's actually involved? Let's imagine that I decide tomorrow it's a nice sunny day. I'm going to get my 705 and my flask of coffee and my sandwiches. I'm going to go out. How do I find my local park, first of all?
So you go onto the Parks on the Air website. This is say you log in because you've already made an account. Uh, you've gone to the map. You've allowed it permission to view location, or you just zoom around the map and find out where you are. Uh, you find your local park. So first and foremost is you make a note of that park's reference number. So like local to me is Barbary Castle. So that'd be GB-0531. So bad I know that off by heart.
I know
Uh,
we are a sad bunch, aren't we, us radio hams?
so you've got your reference number, you've made a note of that, and you go to your park. So you've made sure you're inside the park, you've set up your antenna, you've found your frequency, and then it's got your login software up or your notebook out, and it's as simple as just calling CQ.
Okay, so there's a few things there that you mentioned that I've got questions about. So first of all, you mentioned about frequencies. So what bands and are there specific frequencies, center of activity frequencies on specific bands, or literally do you just pop up wherever you want and call CQ POTA?
So literally it's any band, any mode. You can call it anywhere as long as it's within the band plan. There's no centers activity for POTA, like SOTA does. So you can call CQ wherever you like, whether that's VHF, UHF, FT8 modes, your data, DMR modes, like with a simplex, HF, however you want to do it, you can do it.
Okay, so that raises another question. So assuming I just pop up on some random frequency on 20 meters, and I'm so what do you call me as the person that's sat in the park?
So you'd be the activator.
Because I'm activating the park. Okay. And the person who's chasing me, what are they?
They're the hunters.
Right. Okay. Slightly different terminology, but very, very similar. I get
Yeah.
the connection. Okay. So I'm popping up on 14.222. How
Yeah.
do the hunters know where I am?
Um, so the easiest way is on the Parks on the Air website, there's a spotting page. So you basically pop up on there, you type in your call sign, you type in your park, and it automatically say, once you type in your park, it will say your Barbary Castle, let's say. You type in your frequency. There's a comments box, so you can say on 20 meters, SSB, or on FT8 mode or SSTV, then hit post. And that goes out onto the website. And people like myself, if I'm sat at home, I've got the app up or I'm sat on the laptop and I see it pop up, I go, oh, let's try and work him. And it tell me exactly where you are. And that's it.
Wow, I get how it could be quite addictive, to be honest. And as I say, I've mentioned the inclusivity earlier on, but this sounds perfect for people that are less mobile. So, but okay, so the other question that I had was you mentioned logging. That's right. Yeah, you mentioned logging. So, okay, I'm sat in the park. I've got my sandwiches and my coffee and my radio, and I spot myself, and then somebody comes back to me. So first of all, before that happens, let's talk about the actual CQ call. What
Yeah.
do I say when I want to call CQ?
So everyone has their own little rhythm of calling CQ, don't we? So myself, when I'm calling CQ for parks on the air, so if I'm activating the park, I'll say something like, CQ, 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 Mike 7 Alpha Papa Radio / portable, calling CQ POTA, calling parks on the air, calling from Golf Bravo dash 0531, standing by for any calls on 20, something like that. So people know I'm calling from parks on the air. They know which park I'm calling from.
Okay, and someone comes back to me. What? How do I log it? What is it? Paper logs? Is it electronic logs? Yeah, can I do it on my phone? Do I need a laptop? Loads of questions, as you can see. Sorry.
It's okay, that's what I'm here for. Um, it's up to you how you log it. Everyone's got their own different ways of logging. Some people prefer the paper, so you just write down their call sign, uh, the signal report, uh, frequency, time, that sort of thing. Or myself personally, I love using an app called HamOS. So it's available on iOS, Android, it's available on the Mac, it's available on the computer, so you can use it anywhere. And what that has is it has a template for parks on the air built in. So
Hmm.
you go in, select it. It comes up, you put your call sign in, your park number, you pop it onto the software, into the little log. Your location, your IO square, it be in there, you put that in. And then you type the details in as you go along. And that's great because it works with QRZ, so it automatically brings in that information from QRZ of like their name, their details, their location. You just hit save and it logs everything for you. But it also has like a mapping page, so it'll show you where all your QSOs are, so you can see where you're getting out to. And what I love personally about it, it's got a spotting page inbuilt. It takes its data from the POTA spots page. Um, so I can let's say you're doing activation, I could just hit copy if you're being spotted or you spotted yourself, hit copy, and it copies into the log all your details, frequency, your park, all ready
Well,
to go. It's great.
that sounds really easy. I've got to be honest. Some schemes are quite hard. WAB, for instance, I don't know why there is no simple app that you can just download for your phone and it will tell you what your WAB square is. You seem to need a degree in maths and geography to be able to work out a WAB square, and that's what stops me from getting involved in it, to be honest, because it's just too much hard work. So, okay, so how do you qualify then? Is there a number of stations that you need to work from a park?
So it's just 10 contacts you need. That's all you need. So that could be on any band, any mode within a single day.
So you can mix and match.
You can.
So
It's
if you're operating, for instance, I don't know, 20 meters and it goes dead, then you could flick over to 2 meters or FT8 on 40 or whatever.
exactly. So
Right.
it's great for that. You're not set to a mode. 705, you've got FT8 built in wisely. So you can
Mm,
switch to that and you can switch to VHF and switch to your HF. It's great.
absolutely. So is it like a lot of contests where it's just M0, XMX, 5 and 9 QRZ? Or is it, a bit more of a chit chat?
Um, it can be both. So it can get quite busy with like a pile up, activate a brand new park, you get quite a lot of contacts and it turns out like that. You're literally 5 and 9, here's my reference number. Oh, that's great reference number from yourself. Thank you very much. Or it could be a chat. So there's a lady in Hungary I worked recently to a park to park, and we exchanged our details, and we got chatting for a little bit about how her activation was going, how my activation was going, and it's great. So you can take the time out and chat to people at the same time, which is what the hobby's about.
Absolutely. I think the thing that strikes me, and the reason why I'm interested in this, is 'cause just it gives you the reason to go out there and pick up the microphone. So you mentioned park to park. Okay, I grasp what that concept is. Do you get more points for a park to park, or is there a higher level of some achievement by talking rather than an activator to a hunter? Is it better for a hunter or an activator to an activator?
So in Parks on the Air, there's no points. It's just activation. So if you get your 10 contacts, you've activated the park. And that's it. But in terms of like a park to park, so I might be sat up in Barbary Castle and you might be sat up in a park local to you, and we both work each other on 40 meters. I give you my park reference and you make a log of it in your logbook or into your app, then like vice versa. So that then counts for both of us activating the park anyway. But in terms of award, you get an award for it. So there's like a certificate for getting like 10 park to parks, and then another one at 25 parks to parks and 50 and so on. So you get something out of it, and it's quite a challenge to work another park
Mm,
in your QRP, and
mm,
it's part of the challenge, it's part of the fun of POTA.
absolutely. So when you're talking about certificates, what kind of schemes are there within POTA to encourage people to do more and more?
Okay, so there's so many different certificates. So some of the ones, for example, so you got like your Kilo Award. So it's 1,000 QSOs from a park. So you can imagine how many times you have to be out doing that.
So literally from one individual park, that person, has 1,000 contacts. I take it you could talk to a contact multiple times, right?
But that'd be like across it. So you don't have to do that all on the same day. It's like
I don't
across.
not. I don't think there's many contesters out there that could do that.
There's awards for like different parks in a different day in the same day. So you could be, I might go at Barbary Castle, then Coat Water, then Lydia's house, and then so on. There's awards for how many different parks in a day. Uh, there's awards for like working the same operator so many different times. Uh, one of my favorite awards out there is the 6 meter award. So it's 6 different parks. So you get your 10 contacts in 6 different parks at 6 different times, all on 6 meters.
On different days, I guess.
Yeah.
God,
And then
man.
you've got, yeah, there's just so many awards, and it's all on the website and it's all broken down and it shows you what you have to do. But part of the fun of it is you might do these awards and you don't know you're doing them at the same time, and all of a sudden it just appears on your page on POTA, and you look at it and go, oh, I've got this award now.
Yeah, right. So one of the things, looking on your brilliant Facebook page, I picked up that something called two fur and three fur and four fur. No idea. What's all that about?
So simplest way is a park within a park. So like here in England, we've got quite of like national areas, outstanding beauty and downs and meadows and all that, which might have other parks inside. So like where I live is the North Essex Downs. Within that is Barbary Castle, which also happens to have a national trail running through it, which then makes it a threefer. So if I'm in Barbary Castle, I'm activating 2 other parks along with the park I'm in. So
And I guess that makes it attractive for hunters, does it?
It does, because they're, instead of getting one park in their log, they're getting 3 different parks in the log.
To be honest with you, April, you've inspired me, and I'm really glad, because that gives me the chance to get my radio and my sandwiches and my coffee and just go out and, you know, start using my radio. And the thing I like about it is it's very inclusive, you know, in the way that people who are less mobile um, can do this as well. So, you know, I think this is absolutely great, and I'm sad that I haven't really noticed it before. Hopefully, this little conversation and the video will get noticed by people, and people will start looking at POTA as just another reason to get out and enjoy radio.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about activity. You know, my fancy is 2 meters. I love 2 meters. But I know for a fact if I play 2 meters from home, then I'm going to talk to the same 20 people that I talked to yesterday or the day before. If I go off up a hill, I might be able to talk to 200 people. So, you know, I'm not really into walking up mountains. I'd much rather sit in the comfort of my vehicle and call CQ. So, yeah, inclusivity, I think, is a very, very big thing. And that sounds like you've got it cracked. Last question. So I guess if I'm sat here now and I'm monitoring my 2 meter radio and I hear somebody call CQ POTA, I guess I should go back to them. Even though I'm not a hunter, I can still go back to them, because I guess they can still log me as a contact. Assume I'm just some bloke that's never heard of POTA and somebody calls CQ. Can I go back to them? Does that help them? Or
It does. You don't have to have an account or anything to go back to somebody. The main thing for them is they're getting that contact with yourself. So, you know, you've done your little log, you've exchanged your call signs and your signal reports, and that's it. They've got you in their log, and that goes towards their 10. So you don't have to be doing anything apart from just going back to them.
brilliant.
And that's the beauty about it.
So again, that gives me the reason to pick up the microphone and talk to someone, even if I'm not even involved in POTA.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's the beauty of it.
Thanks very much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks then.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.